if you're catching the replay, please add hashtag replay, and by all means, throw in any questions you have as we go. We'll answer them here or continue to after the show for the replay questions. And let's see, normally what we're talking about is systems and operations that help your business run better. And it's really interesting in times of chaos, what do you do when systems don't work or don't apply anymore? And that's something we wanted to address because it's a super hot topic today. What do you do in times of chaos, and how can systems help? And so it's not so much a system that we wanted to talk about today, but a method that Amelie and I both learned in the military, where when you don't know what you're getting into, how do you approach that? We get a new mission and have to evaluate what are we trying to do? What do we have to work with? And then making our plan from there. And that's essentially the method that every business owner needs to be going through today. There's a lot of businesses that are looking at shutting their doors. There are a lot that are just hanging in limbo because they don't know what's going on. And the strangest thing about this environment is it's really never happened before. It's not a financial crisis in that it came from normal trends that were part of the business environment that led up to a boom or a crash. This is a totally artificial situation that came on quickly and unexpectedly. Nobody really had any time to prepare for it. There's no previous data to go off of in order to prepare for it. And at some point, the artificial forces that are acting on the economy right now are going to suddenly change again, and another period of adaptation is going to have to happen, because for sure it's not going to go back to what it was before. There's too many different things going on. So that's really what we wanted to talk about today. So with that, we did a little roundup of what's been going on in the news with businesses that have been adapting. So what are we adapting to? We have the coronavirus pandemic going on. All the social distancing, and not vital industries are open. Non-vital industries are asked to close their doors or do shift to other alternatives. For example, restaurants can't be open where people can gather, but they can still deliver. So there's a little bit that they can still do, and it's affecting everyone. So along those lines, the first thing we say in what we do is look at what do you have to work with? And so that's the first thought that most business or owners are going through, is like, where can I find new customers? And we're really talking about taking a bigger step back from that and looking at all your resources from a very objective point of view. Where do you have a building? How many hands do you have to work for you? What are their actual skill set? Just really break down the list of resources and try to step away from how you normally use them to see how else you may be able to apply it and where else.
Right. So physical products that you have, skills that you have, time that you have, right? If you could just take stock of all those, take inventory of all that stuff, then you can start to look for, okay, what are the issues that people are having, and what can I do with my inventory list to be able to solve some of those problems, right? So being able to put that then into action. But so you have to first understand what you have, and then understand the problem. I mean, even understanding the problem first might help either way, but those are two things that need to happen. Understand the problem and understanding what you have and how you can then take it and apply it to the current situation to solve problems for people, right?
Right. So starting just again, we have this roundup of what's going on with some big industries that have been in the news and what they're doing. And what we have going on here is we have a viral pandemic going on, and then we have government intervention to support the taking care of people and also to stop the spread. And there is government money going in those directions as well. So that's where this artificial marketplace has kind of popped up out of nowhere. And we have companies that are adjusting to serve that, because that's fundamentally what entrepreneurs and businesses do, right? We solve problems and we serve those needs. So part of our list here,
do you want me to list? I was going to say, do you want me to list some of them out? I can.
Yeah, would you please?
Okay. So in the US, the 3M company is doubling down their production of the N5 respirator mask to an annual rate of 2 billion. H&M, the clothing company, is adapting the production lines to make more surgical garments. In the UK, Smiths Group has ramped up the manufacturing of medical ventilators, which obviously are in short supply, as we've heard. In China, the Foxconn Technology Group, a supplier of iPhone components to Apple, they've refitted their production lines to manufacture surgical masks. And just so you know, I'm reading from my my long list over here. Dior and another perfume distillery, they are in France, they're making hand sanitizer. Brewers such as Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch have also started producing sanitizer. Scotland's Brewdog has unveiled their brew gel, which is being donated to the Aberdeen Royal Infirmary Intensive Care Unit. Let's see, the American Craft Spirits Association, they said three or four of their distillery are now producing alcohol for use as disinfectant. So their distilleries have changed production. Bacardi in Puerto Rico is producing alcohol disinfectant. The Bernard Ricard, the French spirits company behind Absolute Vodka and Jameson Irish whiskey, they expect to produce 4,000 gallons of hand sanitizer in its Fort Smith, Arkansas facility. Let's see where else. Okay, so bourbon and rye distilleries in the U.S. and Kentucky, Texas, and West Virginia are also manufacturing the hand sanitizer, and they are going to redistribute it to hospitals and wherever it's needed. So they're donating it to the White House Task Force, and then they'll redistribute it. There's some hotels that are becoming quarantine shelters. I thought this was kind of interesting. So the German government is considering redeploying unemployed workers, such as waiters, to harvest its fields because border closures are blocking many seasonal workers from Eastern Europe. And that was released on Tuesday. So they're trying to figure out ways to take people that have lost their jobs or restaurants have closed, and then trying to get them some work, which will also help the agriculture and food industry. So let's see where else. Oh, so there's a company that's London-based that makes ventilators for newborns, but they have technicians are working to provide advice to hospitals on how to safely use the machines on adults. And the guy's name is Bernard Neligan. And so they're working on getting those out. Let's see, I think I mentioned other companies are trying to change their assembly lines to be able to create the ventilators. And there's a company called Vohal that's looking to make ventilator components using 3D printers. And it looks like that's in production now. So one thing of note in my research that I was doing, so apparently the government put out on Monday that there's a hotline for businesses willing to help. They should call, and there's apparently a portal where executives can list their firm's capabilities. But as I was doing my research, I had some difficulty finding that phone number. And Janine, I think you ran into something similar too. What were you looking up? And then you said that you couldn't find it. So there's a little miscommunication there.
Well, actually, this is in the context of finding problems and solving them. The government websites are cliche for being a hardcore mess and just hard to find any kind of information on them. And so that's why there are many service providers and information product developers who take the go through the weeds of trying to find the information from the government that we actually need to know if we're going to operate in that environment, and put it in an easy to find thing. So right now, what do we have going on? That phone number, that's a great place for people to put their businesses, and we can't find it. And then you got to wonder, when we can't find it, how many people are going to answer it and what their turnaround in time is on that. What I was looking for was in the midst of what we're on, the phase 3 aid package that's soon to be voted on by the government. And once that comes out, it's like, these are huge packages, and the third one's about to hit before the first two have really been analyzed and applied by anyone. So where do companies find that information? There are tons of people that want to help. They want the business. The government needs things done in our communities, our cities, at the state level, at all these different levels need it done, and people aren't connecting on that yet. And that is in of itself a problem that needs to be solved, which is super important. Along those lines, what I was digging in deeper was, as we're reading the news and we're seeing, in New York City, they're taking these hotels, not just New York City, but the whole concept of taking hotels and putting patients in them. They're not just checking patients in like they check them in at a hotel. They actually have to do some retrofitting within the building to make it the correct medically applicable environment in order to be able to care for them properly. And so there are massive contracts that are or bids for contracts that are getting put up for this retrofitting work, because when the Army Corps of Engineers is called to make a plan for that, they're making the plan, but there's not enough of them to retrofit all these buildings all across the U.S.
to actually implement it or execute it.
Implemented, absolutely. But what we have going on right now is, on the government contracting side, there's a notice from the Corps of Engineers saying, hey, if you have questions, or you think you can serve in some of these contracts, either as a contractor or a subcontractor, go over to the Small Business Association, and you go over there and there's nothing there. So there's huge disconnects in information, and we're working on digging out some of that for you guys too, that we'll keep sharing as we get to it. But that in itself is a problem, and that needs to be solved in order to solve these other problems.
So we'll do a little bit. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw in the reason why we have this list. It's like this list that Amelie just went through of all these companies and the completely different way they're applying what they have. I know people may be sitting there going, but those are huge companies and they have all these resources that they can tap into to make these kind of shifts. It's like it's just a starting point. We wanted to give you ideas, because look at these guys and think about the ripple effect in their whole supply chain, right? Whether it's in the supplies that they need, or how they're going to turn around and deliver what they have, and to whom, because it's all shifting on both sides of that. And all of those roles need to shift, and there are going to be new needs created at each of those steps. And so,
and just one of the needs that I think of is, as these people are changing, people are still going to work. So they're going to need the PPE or the, personal protective equipment to be able to go to work and continue to work in these factories and to be able to produce these things. So not only are they now changed, but it also creates other issues that then down the line, people are going to need to produce more. So they're going to need more people to produce the masks and the clothing, and to be able to wear into these factories, because they're going to also be at risk. So there's a lot of things or a ripple effect that will cause the need for more people to participate in this. So these are just some of the businesses, if you're a smaller business or not necessarily in manufacturing or something like that, there's still things that can be done. And it's just a matter of identifying the problem, understanding your skill set, what products or physical products or, what skills you have, taking inventory of that, and then being able to apply it to fix the new problems that are occurring, whatever that might be. If you do have ideas, please put them in the comments. We're going to do our best to try to figure out where you can go and, find that number, find that portal where you can put, if you do have something that is, would be of good use to being able to support this movement. We're going to look to see if we can find that, and we'll put it into the comments of this Facebook Live to be able to give you the resources you need to apply for that. If you have the ability, or if you know someone, let them know. Not only does it help the overall good of humanity, but it also helps them get back to work, as long as they are able to maintain, safe working environments as well.
Yep. And I think that reaching out point is super, super important for a lot of different reasons. One is when people are under stress, they tend to kind of shut down. And as a business owner, that I need to just fix it and deal with thing can actually shut you off from other ideas and other resources out there. When so many things are changing like this, there may be ideas from other industries or other niches within your industry that you may not have thought of, or just listening to what they're doing over here, you can make the connection between a parallel for yourself or your industry that may apply. So it's really important to stay in touch with people. If you're we're in touch with a lot of people, and as a lot of businesses are just kind of holding their breath, waiting to see where the dust is going to settle, we're seeing this effect of, oh, my clients are just kind of putting a hold on the projects that we'd had lined up.
Kind of contracting in. Yeah.
They are, but it's like stay in contact with them, and not from a hard selling point of view, which is never really a great approach anyway, but stay in contact with them. Everybody knows what everyone else is going through, and be helpful. You see anything that you think might be helpful to them, even if it has nothing to do with you and your business, help them. They'll remember you. It's just basic helping each other out in humanity. But in the business world, it's like we're people. We remember who help us, and we want to help them. And even if there's not something right now, in the future, it's remembered, right?
Yeah.
And they may have something that you never thought of because they were online with their brother's uncle, sister's cousin, because they're stuck at home.
I think one of the big things is, and we mentioned it, I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but we've been talking about, is that we need to shift from a mindset of when will this be over to what can we do about it? Like what solution can we provide? I think as far as like small, any business, this really applies to any business, but changing your messaging is super important, and making sure that it applies to what's going on right now. And making sure that it makes sense. So going over your email sequences, going over your packages, what you're selling, what does that messaging look like? Because that problem or solution you are trying to sell, maybe your digital product, for example, may no longer apply, right? And it might apply down the road, but right now it might not apply. So going back and revising your messaging, updating your website, going through your email sequences, your ads, any of those. I mean, I just started seeing ads on Hulu for businesses that are saying, we know you're home, we're supporting you. Like Verizon's been off the hook with the advertisements on Hulu, and I think it's really important to, basically like the title of this, adapt or die. Like you need to either figure out how you can provide support and fix a solution. You need to update your messaging so it reflects what people are worried about. People's problems, there's still those underlying problems that you might have been able to solve before, but now there's the other things that are taking priority, and you need to speak to those and show how you can support people. We both agree that, right, there's no reason to stop selling or to stop. I mean, it's not like restaurants and grocery stores are handing out food for free. They're still charging. So just like that, everyone else should be doing it, but you got to make sure that what you're selling makes sense, right? Like it has to make sense for the time, or else no one's going to buy, it just isn't. And that's important to remember when you're, while we're in this situation, because we don't know how long it's going to last right now.
Yeah. And that changing your messaging, part of that, what you mentioned at the beginning of that list was looking at your offers and your products. And one of the examples that we come across for a smaller business that was pretty fun was a bar that started offering a free roll of toilet paper with
That's
their
right.
delivery. It's hilarious.
In Arizona, right? I think, right? They were in
Yeah,
Arizona.
I believe it was Arizona. But what did they do? They stepped back and said, hey, we have all these supplies that we're not going to use because people can't come into the bar and hang out and use the restroom anymore. Is there another way we can use what we have on hand? And it's been super popular. And they're helping people with a supply that, a product that's in high demand right now in some
We'll
areas.
give a shout out. They're Thunderbird Lounge in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes.
I was like, I thought I had the name. I just couldn't.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting, like the ventilator components and the 3D printers, like there are a lot of, I love dabbling with gadgets, and 3D printers are super fun, but there are companies that they have a 3D printer that they use for prototypes, not production. And so what do we have going on here? This huge need for ventilators. It's like if someone's in a 3D printer group and they get connected with this company and get the plan out to the hobbyists or the prototypers or whatnot, it's like there is a whole supply capability there for these ventilator parts if somebody can rally them together and get them connected. I mean, we have what we need to do all the things that need to be done right now. They're just all in a different place than where we're used to looking.
Yeah. And I just wanted to also throw something else out there for maybe some local brick and mortar businesses. So something that I think would be really important right now is to set up a neighborhood support group on Facebook, where you have your business or maybe some other neighboring businesses sponsor the group. And then not only are you going to be able to, it helps promote your business, but it's also a great way to build a community while everyone's social distancing. You can create a community. So Facebook groups are huge to be able to do that, and providing news updates and things like that. So it just becomes a place for finding information, and then pulling together with other businesses and saying, are you running any specials today? Do you, if you connect with like a clothing store or boutique near you and they are running a sale online and they're selling their clothes, you can advertise that in the group, or even on your business page. You can do the same thing. It just helps to build that community around, with your business name on it, brand awareness, all that, and not in a shitty way that people would think is being, sleazy or whatever, but just honestly helping, and then using as an opportunity. Hey, we're still open. Just reminding people that you're still open and you're still, doing business, or you've transitioned from having a clothing boutique to having an online store, whatever that looks like. Even a clothing store could create a Facebook group around fashion and doing, fashion shows online, or showing upcoming trends and things like that for clothes. Like, anything like that would be helpful. Some of the other things that Janine and I we were trying to come up with some ideas for some brick and mortar businesses that they'd be able to utilize, still have business, but put it online. So something we came up with, like, I know sports coaching isn't necessarily brick and mortar, but sports coaches can hold virtual workouts with teams or members, and you can offer paid virtual coaching packages. Dog trainers can start to do online classes or one-on-one lessons on Zoom or another video calling platform. Home care services. So they do still have an in-person element, but what they can do is make sure that they set up video call appointments, because right now, if the elderly person is at home, they could be having their family members take care of them, and those family members might not be used to taking care of them all the time because they're used to having a home care person come in. So creating content around what that family member needs to do for, therapy options, how to recognize changes in their health, any dietary needs, things like that, that will help them cope while they're at home with maybe their elderly family member that they're not used to caring for 24/7, if they're used to having that. Music instructors and teachers can teach lessons online. They can create a YouTube channel, offer one-on-one lessons. Plumbers, mechanics, you could offer lessons. There's a lot of kids at home, or people that might want to learn a new skill. And my thinking behind it is you could teach them how to fix small things. One, it kind of helps keep you out of their homes, right? And they can be self-sufficient during this time. But when there's bigger projects, who do you think they're going to go to if they learned how to do this small skill from you? Of course, they're going to call you when the bigger project comes in. So you could start a YouTube channel, a Facebook group, do have a business page, anything like that will help you bring that online and still be able to connect with people and build those relationships. Event planners should be offering to help people move their in-person events to online, proactively reaching out to places where customers have paid or put a deposit down to have an event, and then try to either reschedule or bring it online. Excuse me. One of the other things cooks or people that own restaurants, teaching cooking lessons online, free or paid. There's a lot of kids at home again, teaching cooking lessons. There's a lot of people that are having to cook a lot more. I see posts on Facebook all the time of like, I haven't cooked so many meals in a while, and maybe they want to learn something new. You could also take your recipes, create an e-recipe book, and sell it on your website. Hairstylists, barbers, makeup artists, teach home hair care techniques. Sorry, I was going to get that right. You can teach people how to maintain their haircut or their shape ups while they're at home. And maybe one of their family members can learn how to cut hair from your video, and then they can cut their hair. But then, eventually once this all opens up, people are going to want to still go out and get those services once we're able to go out and be and not have to social distance anymore. So those are just some of the ideas we threw together. We put everything into a PDF, and we'll share the link to that in the comments of this, with some other ideas of platforms to make money working from home, because there's still businesses that are open and they're still looking for people. So we have a list of resources, and we'll share that in the comments as well.
Yeah, please do comment. If you're hearing these ideas and you're sitting there thinking, oh, but that totally doesn't apply to me and my business, reach out to us, and we'd love to help you or connect you with someone who can.
Yeah.
I know some of the ideas, one in particular that I love, because my dad was a plumber, is like there are a lot of local services that haven't connected with the online world like they should. And we have a good friend, Nick Fitzgerald, who helps people with Facebook Lives. And he has someone he's helped, a plumber in Montana, who just by doing Facebook Lives, giving these little tips and doing exactly what Amelie described about helping people do little things at home or understand how they can prevent problems, led to him having more business than he could handle, which led to him expanding his business, which ultimately led to him getting an offer from the local Home Depot to be their preferred provider, all because he just put out little Facebook video, not little, I shouldn't put it like that, but Facebook Lives sharing his expertise with people. It really can lead to something big for you and your business. And he helped a ton of people. He's known in his community for that. It's like, and helping people do things for themselves took nothing away from his business. It enhanced him. And some people think that there's a conflict there, and there's really not.
Yeah. And so, like Janine said, if you have a business and you need an idea of how to help or bring it online or something like that, in the comments, I'll put a link to book a call with us. We'll do a free 15-minute call to try to help you brainstorm some ideas. So we'll put that in the comments. Please feel free to reach out. You can comment here if you don't want to book a call, and we're happy to respond to the comments and see if we can brainstorm some ideas. So we'll put our book a call link, and no pressure of continuing the relationship after we give you all of our brilliant ideas, but I'm just kidding.
And as we battle through the government website,
we'll see if we can find the link. So we'll share that in the comments. If we can find that phone number or that portal to put your business on the list to be able to support, we'll put the link to the list that we created for working at home. And the different resources we put together. And so check out the comments. We'll put that there. And then, if you come back and watch this replay, feel free to still comment, put a hashtag replay, and then put your comments or your ideas, whatever you can find. Please put those in the comments. Let us know. And, if you have any questions, as far as something we talked about, feel free to put that in the comments as well. And we will make sure that we get back to and answer those questions. Next time, we are going to go over our One Funnel Away Challenge Trello board that we've created and how we think best to organize that project and how we go about doing those kinds of projects and organizing them. So again, if you have questions or comments, please put them below. Go ahead.
I just want to throw about the One Funnel Away Challenge is geared more towards launching a new product or a new business. But hey, a lot of us have people at home who have nothing to do. And it's a great way to give them something to do.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that next time. And again, feel free to reach out. We are here to support, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
See you there.
Bye.